discussion that we are doing, microfabs. This is the first episode because we figured out that a lot of us love capsule conversations and want to deep dive and learn from people who have actually cracked the code. And for the first episode for the microfab and this amazing capsule-led conversation, we are joined by Mr. Sukhpal Sani. He has been building businesses for more than 8 years. He's been in the industry. He started his own AI platform called Legend.ai. Right now has his own GTM newsletter as well, and a lot of things that he has been building. Also, a Coursera ambassador and level ambassador in Toronto, leading one of the largest community out there. So we're joined by him, and it's a pleasure to have you over here. Thank you so much for joining us over here right now, Sapal, today.
Thank you for having me.
So I would, as we discussed, is going to be deep dive, and you mentioned so much about building business on marketplace and how do you thrive out there because so many people or founders have different products, but they could never crack the code about how to scale that. So what do you think? What worked for you? What was your exact roadmap that you followed for that?
Yeah, so I've been building products for the last 8 years, and most of that has been like building mobile apps and then like web apps at some point. I've also tried doing like B2B businesses and then like trying B2C ideas. Um, the hardest part is like once you build a product, like this is a thing that every technical founder like runs into is like, how do I sell it now? And I was able to like get it to a point where I got some money coming in, but it definitely wasn't enough, and I couldn't see like a reliable way of like this business like becoming big really really quickly. And it wasn't until like 3 or 4 years ago that I came across the Stripe app marketplace. So if you don't know this, Stripe.com, like the payments platform, they have a
Right.
marketplace directory where you can add your app in there. You can basically build like a third-party app. They have a whole SDK around it, and business owners that use Stripe can install that app to add basically additional features to the Stripe dashboard. So, for example, you can have an app that lets you like create reports out of your Stripe data. This is not a functionality that's like available from Stripe, like from the Stripe company, but a third-party developer has built it, and then as a business owner, I can just add that in. It's very similar to how you would have like an iOS app store, right? Like iPhone has some apps, but if you want additional, you just go and download it from there. So Stripe has that. When they were first coming out, brand new, when they were first launching, I reached out to the product manager and I said, hey, I will build like 5 apps. Here's the Figmas for like what apps I would build if you give me access to publish in this marketplace. Because at that time, nobody had access to this except for the bigger companies. I got access to it and I built an app that was living inside this marketplace. And I got to 15, basically, it was an e commerce website creator. That was the app. And I got to 1,500 businesses using that app within a year and a half. And it was all organic. I didn't do any work. And so like that's where I saw like the power of building in marketplaces. And I was able to like sell that business right after. And so from then on, I've been building in marketplaces. I've done uh, we'll talk more about this, but I built it in Slack App Store. Webflow has one, HubSpot has one, and now I'm building in Canva and same thing. So on Canva, I have the #1 trending app on Canva Marketplace, and all of that traffic comes from Canva directly. Like I don't have to like actually go out and find customers. And I think if I knew this earlier, I would have just done this from the get-go. And I think like this is like a piece of alpha that like if you're a technical founder, that you should definitely give it a shot.
So when you talk about all of this, like different areas and how you're scaling things, how does it exactly work? I mean, specifically in terms of marketplaces, how did you exactly decide that this is a marketplace and how do you decide the marketplace based on the product? Like HubSpot, I think it's a CRM platform and it has HubSpot Academy, so it has a lot of creators back then who were over there. So how do you exactly identify that this is a marketplace to begin with and then from scratch, put out things and then ensure that people come in and the right target audience joins in?
Yeah, there's actually a pretty big sort of like an indicator that comes directly from the product team, like that's on the other side, the marketplace team. Um, you can tell if a company really values their marketplace. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Why do companies have this marketplace? The reason for that is they built up a customer base and there's like people using, X number of their features, but now they have to support a lot of customers and a lot of use cases. It was fine for them at the beginning because it was a very narrow use case that they started out with. But now that they're like Canva is a massive company now, they have customers, everyone from an educator, like a teacher in, let's say, Netherlands, to a social media person in Canada, to so they, and then a business owner, like so a bakery shop owner, like that. Those are all their customers, right? But they don't have the time or the capability to build out different features for all these people. But if they were to build out a feature, it generally has to be useful for everybody. They can't just put out a feature that is useful for only teachers, right? So they don't have the luxury to like build out all these features, even though customers are asking for it. So then what they decide is like, okay, we need to make our platform extensible so that other people can build out these small apps. And then whoever needs these small functionalities, they can like install those, right? So that way, with a base that's a core app and then additional functionality outside that our customers can then just opt into. That's the motivation for the platform to create these marketplaces. Now, as an app builder on the other side, you have to be really careful around what the like do the platform team actually care about your success. So some app stores are only trying to get bigger companies onto their platform to be able to have a huge list of integrations. So for example, like every app has Slack as an integration because that's where most people work, and having an integration like Slack on your marketplace makes it easy for you to offer more functionality to your users. But those platforms don't really care about somebody who's not a massive Slack type company. Like I'm just a small business owner, like they don't really care about that. So you want to build in marketplaces where the platform team really thinks that small app developers can build really unique features. So Canva is that, and Stripe is that. The ones that you want to avoid is Webflow, Slack, and HubSpot is kind of like in the middle, where they have a lot of bigger companies that have built their app integrations into HubSpot, but you can, as a small app developer, have your app on there because so many people use it. So that's one like axis I look at,
Right,
which
right.
is like, which is um, what is the motivation of the platform team for this product? Like, do they just care about like having big names on their marketplace, or do they actually want to support like small app developers as well? So that's one. Number two is how how much money does their customer have? So for example, folks that use Stripe have a business. That's why they're using Stripe in the first place, right? Because they're like collecting payments. So that means they have some money to spend. So if you help them make $100, they're probably fine paying you 10, right? Like that just kind of like makes sense because like these are B2B people, they're business owners, like, and they all they want to do is make more money and like save their time because they're like always busy. So if you can build an app to help them with their day-to-day operations, it just makes sense that they will pay. So choosing the right customer types, like that's really good. The customer for Stripe is a business owner. Business owner can pay for apps. That's a good place to do. Building on the Slack app store, I would say is not that great because somebody who uses Slack, like I'm in like 20 different Slack workspaces. I would never pay for an app, right? So like Slack's customer is not that willing to pay. So picking the right kind of like, you want to work in a marketplace where like people can actually pay you. So if somebody like for the Slack app store, if somebody made my life, I don't know, manage my messages better, that doesn't mean like I want to pay, $100 for that software. It doesn't really matter to me. But if somebody did that to me for me on Stripe, made it easier for me to run my business, like I would definitely pay them money. So it's like different marketplaces have different customers, and you want to make sure that their willingness to pay is high. Um, so that's
Yeah.
the second one. The third one is just how easy it is to build. Like you can get pretty complicated with these integrations. Like you don't want to be too complicated. Just find a missing feature in the core platform and just build that out.
Makes sense. So when I try to understand this on a deeper level, like the marketplace and how does it work, overall, what's the, I mean, for and you segregate based on what kind of app developer you are and what is the app, providing out there. When I talk about scaling things or like attracting people, so since you also talk about a lot of GDM strategies, and you mentioned when you worked on Engine.ai, it you had a lot of organic visitors. So how do you build that organic traction even when you're in a marketplace? Like there are 100 odd other people promoting the same things that as you do, and specifically when your app right now is not charging 100 bucks per user, it's going to be like $10, $15, $20 a month, and that's on a higher end that I'm talking about. Unless or So how do you exactly cope with that, and like make something that is that makes you money as well? It's not just there and no one's buying it.
So that's actually not true, which is there's actually not a lot of competition in these marketplaces. If you go to like on the Webflow app marketplace, there's like 50 or 100 maybe apps, like, and that's at the max. So like for every category, there's probably one or two options. So like when I was doing the SEO, I was building the SEO app and I had a Webflow, I was building it like a Webflow app inside their marketplace. I was like one of three apps that were available at the time, and I think that's still true. For Canva app marketplace, there's about 200 to 300 apps right now. Like we're not talking about the scale as in like iOS App Store has millions of apps, right? So you're not really in that situation of like, hey, there's like 100 apps that are doing the same thing. That's not the equation that you're playing in. You're playing in, hey, there's like two other apps that do something similar, and they're like both not that great. So it's easier for you to stand out there. That's one. Number two is you do have to like kickstart the product process of like getting some people. So you might like post on Reddit and like a couple of different places to be like, hey, I have this app, go install it. But once the way these marketplaces work is like they have internal metrics on which apps are getting the most usage, right? Once they see that your app is getting the most usage, they'll start taking your app and then putting it into the trending category up top, or they'll start like recommending people your app outside of just the app marketplace, like in the app surface as well. So like when I log into, let's say, Stripe dashboard, it might say, hey, to make your operations easier, install XYZ app. And then somebody doesn't even need to be in the app marketplace searching for that app. It's actually recommended to them by the platform. So once you get that initial bump, the platform or the marketplace will actually help you market it. And that's what happened to me when I was building the Stripe app. It was so useful that the Stripe team actually put it on recommend on the trending, so right up at the top for a couple of weeks, and people started like noticing it, and then like that led to more positive reviews, meaning like now I could take that and like make a bunch of like LinkedIn posts or like blog posts out of it, and that kind of like led to more and more customers coming in. And when you have like a critical base of people, then what you can hit like 1,000, 1,500 like stores or like customers that way pretty quickly. That same sort of tactic or strategy has worked for me for Canva as well. Like I am right now the trending number one trending app, and because it's number one trending, people see it, kind of use it, they like it, they tell their friend about it, and then it just starts the loop over and over again. But that's like so have a great app, get some initial customers. Once you have the usage being numbers being high, the platform will push you out, and that's the way to do it. And there's not a lot of competition. That's the other thing, right? Like it's not like you're competing with 100 different apps that are doing the same thing. It's not that.
That makes a lot of sense, and it's very helpful to understand what's working, what's not working, and specifically, so what's the secret success of scaling? Like there are so when you talk about let me talk about Lovable, like that it got like it's now $1 billion app. I think app is an incredible, like entire ecosystem or platform. But all of these apps that we're talking about, like Slack, Canva, Cursor, they're all apps first as well. Of course, they have now an ecosystem built, but they didn't have an app first. So, what's the secret success of acquiring the first users? Get the data, because of course the first app is not something that's going to work, and then once you have like a certain iteration, immediately scale. So like, what's the do you think there's a secret sauce, or there's a lot of iteration behind it?
Um, so the playbook becomes pretty common after like the 0 to 1 is different, 1 to 5 or 10 is different, but then at 10 to 100 is actually pretty similar. So every company that has some customers. So let's say how do you get the first customer? It literally has to be, you just have to go around to people, go around to like r/Stripe or r/ business owners and try to get people to use it, right? So you get typically for the first 10, 15 customers, you're gonna have to do the legwork yourself. When you come to scaling, there's actually pretty much like proven playbooks on how to do that. So if it's a B2C app, you have referrals that you can do. So like, hey, you buy one and you gift one to your friend, you both get like X credits free. That's a referral scheme. The second one that's like proven is affiliates. So make a video for us, and in the video put in your referral code, and if somebody buys from that, you get percent cut. Like that's so that works. Um, the third one is obviously like showing up in like ChatGPT now, or like SEO, like those work. And then the fourth one is getting a bunch of like UGC creators to be like, I just found this app on Stripe App Marketplace, and now I'm using it to do XYZ. That. So like you just do three, like after you hit the 1 to 10, you just basically do these, and that will get you to 100 to 10 to 100.
And are these gonna be the people, those who stay? Like, are there like gonna be people like a retainership is gonna be there, or every time I need to struggle unless I hit that North Star in my app? For example, if I use a functionality in your app, I might like three things that I dislike the other two, or I think they're of no use to me. So, do you think someone who's like me would be having a retainership model associated with your app? For example, Riverside. Sometimes it does not work with me, but I've been using it for the past 5 6 months now. If you ask me to go to StreamYard, or if you ask me to go to some other platform, even for podcasting or anything, I'm gonna be like, I think even if it does not give me a few things here and there, I'm still gonna stick with it because I'm just so used to the ecosystem. Unless it does something that's so bad and my entire online content creation ecosystem is sabotaged, then I'll be like, let's make an upgrade. If not, till the time, I'm still gonna be with it. So how does that psychology work in this space?
It actually works pretty much in your favor as an app developer, because you are piggybacking off of this big brand, right? So let's take the example of Shopify. So Shopify is a massive brand. People love Shopify. And I might go and say, it's missing one or two things. Let me go into app marketplace and like find an app for that and like download that app, right? Now, typically, because if the app, like the app marketplace app, like the one that you built, was on its own, then you have to like build that brand credibility for yourself. But because you're on the Shopify thing and people are already using Shopify and love it, and like it's a massive company, they see it all around, whatever, they are not going to leave Shopify for a different platform. So if they love Shopify, they're going to continue using your app. So the retention of these apps is actually pretty great, because for them to churn, they would either have to find a similar app in the marketplace or switch out of the full platform, like the full complete platform. And that typically doesn't happen. So people that love Canva, they love it a lot. And they typically don't want to like leave it. So the retention rate is pretty good. Um, you just have to like keep providing value. And the only time I think people leave is if like you just mentioned, like it's like actually like making your life horrible. At that point, they don't blame Shopify, they will blame the app itself, and then they'll like uninstall the app and get a new one, right? So because you're backed by a big brand, Shopify or the platform, you get the benefit of the doubt. You get to have the massive brand behind you without putting in any work.
Got it. That's super helpful, like how to now exactly identify, understand, list it on a marketplace, and actually know how to build that strong cohort of people who are gonna use your app, or at least you know which place it's gonna work. And I think this is a strong deep dive. Do you think anything if we take these 60 seconds to just think on something that you feel that these are the top three things that you should be, or someone who's into app product marketing, or into the marketing team, or himself is in the small scale developer and wants to do something, like these are the top three things that they should be taking care of, or maybe if they want to grow it as well, they should hire people as well. Like, what do you think are the top three things that they should be really mindful about?
Yeah, the first one is just like pick the right marketplace to build in. Like there's some that will actually push your app out to other people, to users, and there's some that are like, we don't particularly care. And so you want to find out which those are. And the ones that I've worked with that I recommend, Stripe App Marketplace and Canva App Marketplace, work really well. HubSpot works, like HubSpot is like number two. And I think like Shopify App Store is like number two, that as well. Anything else, I haven't had like much success with it. So like pick the right ones, like building those. Oh, by the way, Google Apps has a marketplace as well. It's yeah, massive amount of like apps that are available on the Google Apps marketplace. So that's another place where you can like look into. That's one. Number two is it's about like shots on the goal kind of thing. So if you when you build an app, you're not building like a generational company out of that. You're kind of building like a small feature in a big platform, right? Like that's the point of it. So the key is quantity at the start, and then once something starts working naturally, expanding more into that. So like I mentioned for like Stripe, I had pitched them 5 different app ideas, and one started to gain traction. I just like stopped working on the other ones and just started working on that one, and that worked beautifully. So work on quantity before you do quality. And then once you build one app, you'll know the you'll have like a template that you can like continue copy pasting over and over again with different feature ideas, right? That's two. Number three is once you're successful in that marketplace, to really grow out of to really grow massively, you have to build an external SaaS or like an external product that's not in the marketplace, right? Does it make sense? So because there's like a natural ceiling to building in a marketplace, because if let's say the platform costs me $20 a month, Canva costs me $20 a month to use, it's very hard for me to pay $100 for an app that's in Canva, right? Because the ceiling, like if as a Canvas customer, Canva gives me so many things for $20. Why is this small app charging me 100? It just like doesn't make sense, right? So your natural ceiling, how much you can charge a customer, is determined by how much like the platform costs. But if you want to like scale your app further, you would take that app and then make an external SaaS out of it, and then use that app as a distribution mechanism to bring people to your new web app. And in a new web app, you can charge as much as you want to because it's outside of the frame.
Got it. I think that makes a lot of sense, because I now have an understanding of what frames to exactly understand before and after, and how would it look like in the middle as well. So I think we can bifurcate it based on my understanding in three ways. So one, the first frame you figure out, that's what, 0 to 1 or 2 steps when you're figuring it out. Then the marketplace listing where you are then acquiring the first users, and then comes the scaling when you're using UGCs, and then you're framing it wherein you know a lot of other angles of how people are perceiving it as well, and then a lot of feedback iteration kicks into place. And I think from that step the loop gets in play, and then you figure out, like, and don't do something that sabotages it. So I think that's really helpful. So I think we are time, and It was a crazy deep dive with you. I am so informed right now, and specifically now, if I anyone who puts into this space, they know exactly what needs to be done. So thank you so much for this deep dive that we did. And if you have any quote for anyone who wants to experiment with what you have just talked about, feel free to let them know. And if anyone wants to get in touch as well, please let them know how can they get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is SSSAINI. I can put in the chat as well, but linkedin.com/IN/SSSAINI or Sukhpalsani on LinkedIn. I'm also, you can email me. Email is sukh, SUKH at engine.ai, ENGYNE.ai. I'm happy to like answer questions.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you for joining the live. It was a
Of
pleasure
course.
speaking with you again and having a deep dive.
Yeah, sounds